What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're here for a new Madden 24 rebuild where we're going to be rebuilding the Minnesota Vikings, a team that should be dead in the water after the injury of Kirk Cousins. However, they went out and got Josh Dobbs, a man who has me blocked on Twitter for some reason. And I honestly can't remember why I got blocked. I'm assuming it was something that I was saying when he was at Tennessee, probably a Tennessee-Florida game, because I obviously, just a guy coming into the draft for the most part. Went from Pittsburgh, has been a backup, but he has been a revelation for the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Kirk Cousins wasn't playing well. Kirk Cousins was putting up pretty ridiculous numbers, but in his final year of his contract, it did look like he was on the way out. There was a lot of rumors that Kirk Cousins could be getting traded, like the Jets were a top team. So we're going to do a rebuild where we're going to see if Josh Dobbs can become that guy. Now, I wouldn't even think of doing this rebuild because he's 28, because he's below a 70, because he's no dev trait, if the fact that the Minnesota Vikings didn't have a very, well, I'm not saying, I shouldn't throw that many varies on, but they have a very friendly quarterback sim offense. It does seem like a little bit of a plug-and-play offense. I've seen some ridiculous quarterbacks have ridiculous seasons in the sim here in Minnesota. Definitely helps that they got 99 X Factor in Justin Jefferson, 82 rookie in Jordan Addison, 92 tight end in TJ Hawkins. It definitely helps. So I think it has definitely set itself up to see within a 5-year period, can Josh Dobbs I don't think the question is going to be, can Josh Dobbs develop into a franchise quarterback? Because in the context of Madden, probably not. Unless we get real good roles with his dev traits. He's at 28. It's, the XP is going to start slowing down. He's honestly probably going to start regressing year 3 of this rebuild. But the question is going to be more so, can Josh Dobbs obviously develop a little bit, but can he bring the Minnesota Vikings the Super Bowl they have been missing? So it's a little bit of a challenge because we do have Kirk Cousins on the roster. And to make it so it's somewhat realistic, because we are starting from week 1, I'm going to give Josh Dobbs that opportunity. I'm not going to trade Kirk Cousins because obviously Kirk Cousins went down, and that is what propelled the opportunity for Josh Dobbs. So knowing Kirk Cousins is in the final year of his contract, he does have a mentor tag, which went in a little bit to me deciding just to keep him on the roster, make it that much difficult, because I probably could flip Kirk Cousins for a decent draft pick, but he does have a mentorship tag, which is going to boost the weekly XP for Josh Dobbs. And I feel like right now, if I was trading Kirk Cousins, I'd probably trade him for a 3rd round pick, because he is in a contract year. So what's worth it more to me, a 3rd round pick or Josh Dobbs getting extra XP here in his first season? I think the answer is the extra XP. So looking at the rest of the Vikings roster, I'm going to go with Cam Akers as our starting running back. Not a lot of difference separating him and Madison. So the fact that he's a year younger and he has a dev trait. Wide receiver room, we have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, who are going to be one of the best 1-2 punches in the NFL for a very long time. KJ Osborne's solid, but he is set to be a free agent, and we're just obviously can't really pay a 3rd wide receiver, who's honestly the 4th receiver on this offense, including TJ Hawkinson. So he'll be here for the time being, but ultimately it's going to be the Addison and Jefferson show, and we're going to need them to stand up and show out and ball out so we can help get Josh Dobbs off of that ugly dev trait. Offensive line plus TJ Hawkinson, I don't want to say, obviously it's a debate because, if you're looking at the next tier of tight ends, right? Top tier is Travis Kelce. Is there anyone else really in the top tier that you could say, it's Travis Kelce, right? And then beyond Kelce, you have the log jam of, Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson, Dallas Goedert's up there. Other names like that. But, anytime anyone would put TJ Hawkinson ahead of Dallas Goedert, I get a little offended because I do think Dallas Goedert is a better player. But, unbiasedly aside, TJ Hawkinson is an absolute monster. Very productive player, well-rounded tight end, thriving in Minnesota after the Detroit Lions decided they did not want to pay him, and we're going to make him a focal point of this rebuild. Great safety net for Josh Dobbs. The offensive line, I don't watch a lot of Vikings games. I see some. I don't watch all of them. But it does just seem like Viking fans constantly complain about their offensive line, when in Madden, and it's Madden versus real life, they have an outstanding offensive line in Madden. Darisaw, Reisner, Bradbury, and Brian O'Neill are going to be here for the full 5 years as long as we can afford them. O'Neill and Darisaw should be one of the best tackle duos, and I know Darisaw grades out very well by PFF, and I think O'Neill is kind of hit or miss. Sometimes he grades out elite, other times not so much. But for the most part, that's not a brutal offensive line, at least not enough to fuel the hatred that it seems Vikings fans have for this offensive line. Yeah, we need to figure out right guard, but for the most part, like, I think this is an O-line that we can grow and develop alongside Josh Dobbs as the captain of this ship. Defensively, not as good as the offense. Front three, we got Phillips, Lowry, and I know it's a little undersized, but I'm going to put DJ Wanham on the field just because I do think he's an underrated pass rusher, and I want to get him some reps just to see if, you know, another one of these guys where you throw a normal dev player in there, give him a full year as a starter, maybe they'll get, be it an unjust or not, dev trade increase. We've seen that time and time again, especially using these linebackers or defensive ends. So if we can roll a dev trade on Wanham, that'd be huge because Davenport is only here on a 1-year rental. Daniil Hunter's having a ridiculous season, playing like a top 5 edge rusher. Then he is top 10, which is huge. He's a 92 right now. We have Hicks and Ivan Pace Jr., who, shocked that he went UDFA. Obviously, it's a little bit of hindsight of like, oh, I knew Ivan Pace was going to be the highest graded rookie linebacker. No, but his production, he was hired of a very good Cincinnati defense. I believe he was a transfer as well, but he had the kind of production, and he tested well, and he had like the fastest GPS at the Senior Bowl. Should have not be in the UDFA. Like, it's almost one of those things where like his agent was telling teams 6th, 7th round, don't draft him so he can figure out where and decide where he wants to go. But he's absolutely killing it. So he would be a guy that I'd love to see get a dev trade on this defense, as Jordan Hicks is kind of in line with Davenport, where it's more of a rental near the end of his career type player. We have Harrison Smith, the veteran. I don't know how many years he's going to give us. Hopefully full 5. Probably not. Probably get 2 or 3. We have Cam Bynum and Louis Seam back here. I don't know. I didn't know Bynum had that crazy rating. I know he's been pretty good this year. And Louis Seam just... I don't know. I don't watch enough Viking game. I remember he was hyped. He's a big-time athlete out of Georgia. And I'm going to utilize him in the nickel spot just because he has the dev trait and a young player in our secondary to go on with Byron Murphy. We have a Caleb Ellis. We have Andrew Booth Jr., who actually, I want to go with Booth, man. For a first-round pick. Another guy. Throw a normal dev player out there. See if he can get a dev trait. Same with Blackman, the rookie they got at USC. Let's get as many normal dev guys. Watch it be fucking Lowry out of all of them that end up getting a dev trait. But we're going to try our best on some of these long-term pieces. Pace, Bynum, Booth, Blackman on the defensive side. Dobbs, really the big one on the offensive side. If we can roll some dev trades year 1, that is going to be huge for this rebuild. So again, we're not going to trade away Kirk Cousins. We're going to rock and roll with it. I'm going to try to keep the roster as is. Maybe look at trading in this offseason around draft time. Let's ready to lock in. And let's go try to win a goddamn Super Bowl with Josh Dobbs under center for the Minnesota Vikings. We'll take just about any win we can get for the development on this roster. And after, unfortunately, a Week 2 loss against the Eagles, we did get a breakout scenario for the defense, and it is Cam Bynum, the 79 normal dev safety. So if he has a decent game, or the defense as a unit has a decent game, Week 3 against the Chargers, which, if I remember correctly, this was a close loss, which is pretty much every Viking loss and or every Charger loss is a close loss. Oh, all right, we fall 1-2, but do we at least get the depth trade on Bynum? We did not. It is a whole bunch of poop sandwich all there in Week 3. Really badass, having an upset. I was kind of tossing that Niners game up as a likely loss, but we go to 4-3 to sit on top of the North, and a weekly award winner going to Josh Dobbs. 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. He is thriving here in Minnesota. So we might as well use this point about midway to talk about our contracts here for our squad. And let's see. I mean, I have no idea what kind of budget we're working with. 97 mil Eddies and a lot. And up front, obviously, Daniel Hunter, IRL, is probably balling up because he knows he's in a contract year. You got to pay him. Franchise legend, I think, with that contract, too, probably. I know you got an old guy. I can't remember his name. I'm trying to be like sack leaders. You have a guy who's like a D tackle back in the day. It was like 280-pound D tackle. I don't know why I'm blanking on it. He probably has like your leader. I know Jared Allen was there for a minute. But Daniel Hunter, another 5 years at his current pace, probably has a shot. We got Cam Akers, who's been solid. I think we'll give him a 3-year contract. See where he develops. He wants a little bit more. KJ Osborne. And we got some interesting contracts. One is Mr. Da. We got to pay Josh. Get him 4 years, 21 mil. So that's something like, obviously, we'll have to pay him a little bit more. But that's going to be something we can kind of work with. If we're committing to Josh Dobbs, it's not going to be like a $200 million quarterback contract on the books. So we're going to be able to be aggressive in other different areas of the team in terms of like a friendly deal. We got Dalton Risner here at guard. I mean, not a lot of people want to buy in here to the Vikings, but 28, 78, probably a ceiling of like 82, 83. That's more than good enough to be a starting guard for us. You know, while we have Osborne here, that is not like a $6 million cap hit per year for a guy that's going to be a legit wide receiver 3 for the remainder of this rebuild. I don't hate that. I feel like committing with Josh Dobbs, an inexpensive quarterback, allows us to throw the money at KJ Osborne, who I honestly assume was going to be out the door. So we'll come back to the table for Cam Akers. We'll come back to the table for, obviously, Josh Dobbs. Outside of that, you know, I will say I'm willing to pay one of Wanham or Davenport, given the fact one of them plays pretty well. And we'll come back to those contracts at the end of the year. Then I literally just went to the next week. You know, not a crazy, you know, a nice win over the bottom-dwelling Packers, who have only one win on the year. 35-14. I was like, oh, weekly award winner, who's it just? It's just Josh Dobbs again. 5 tuds. We're going to win MVP with Josh Dobbs. I knew the Vikings, they're definitely probably closer to a top 5 sim offense in Madden 24 than not. But still, this is, to have it actually come to fruition year 1, it looks promising, we'll say the least. All right, come on, Mr. Dobbs. 4-year, 26 mil. Thank you. Back-to-back player of the week. So, I just want to also highlight another thing. That if you're ever trying to do a franchise rebuild on your own and you want to go with an example like Josh Dobbs, where clearly, I mean, I don't want to say clearly because the way that he's playing, he might pop off on dead, but it's unlikely he's ever going to be like a 90 X factor, right? What I'm going to do is I've already gone out and got our 3 additional training slots. In a perfect world, I'd be able to get the quarterback XP boost up to 15%. I'd be able to get the final piece, which make all of our scheme fits get extra XP. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hoard all of my staff points so that once the offseason begins, I'm going to hire an offensive coordinator who has the, I believe it's quarterback guru talent tree. And that is going to give all those, you know, +3 short, +3 mid, +3 deep, +3 throw power buffs to the quarterback. We're definitely going to need that for Josh Dobbs. I mean, honestly, when you get all those plus, like a quarterback in form, you can end up getting like a +5, +6 overall to your quarterback, which is absolutely what we're going to need for Josh Dobbs if we're going to be able to win a Super Bowl, I think. Dude, I cannot. We lost 34-33, annoying. And still have Josh Dobbs going for 5 touchdowns. Where are we right now? Week 10. We are week 10. Josh Dobbs is leading the league in yards, in touchdowns, in passer ratings. Doesn't have a brutal interception number. And we are, just for full clarity here, ladies and gentlemen, we are rocking Vikings offense, Vikings defense. Pretty good. Coming out of our bye, we are on a 2-game losing streak, and our offense has struggled. We've got 14 points and 7 points in back-to-back weeks, but we're doing it here to have a breakout linebacker, which I hope is for Ivan Pace. And it's not. It's for Marcus Davenport, who is set to be out of contract, but we have more than enough money to pay him, especially if he becomes a superstar pass rusher. So as a 7-5 team, definitely need to look at this Vegas game as winnable. We do win it. Beautiful. We also have a breakout wide receiver on top of that. But did we get it for Davenport? Unfortunately, we did not. But I have complained my last couple rebuilds that I'm not getting nearly enough dev trade scenarios, breakout scenarios, whatever you want to call them, in season. And we've had a couple swings at it here in year 1 for the Vikings. I'm going to guess this is Jordan Addison. Oh, it's KJ Osborne, who we just rewarded a contract. Highly doubt as our 3rd option. He's not in the slot either, so he's the 2nd outside wide receiver. Going to be tough against Cincinnati. Lou Amaruno, or whatever his name is. Pretty good DC. But, yeah, there we go. Another swing and a miss. Maybe I don't want as many dev traits because now we're just losing them all. It makes me feel bad about myself. I'm as giddy as you guys. I want to see what these final numbers are for Josh Dobbs. He finished with the number 2 offense in the NFL, number 1 overall offense. 40. He has 40. He got 40 touchdowns. Defense not so hot, but the offense, that is like, I mean, I don't know if we're getting MVP because Dak and Mahomes also had ridiculous years, but Mahomes is Mahomes. Dak is comically good in Madden, and Josh Dobbs is as comically good as Dak is. 4,700 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 11 picks for Josh Dobbs to go along with also 240 yards rushing and 5 rushing touchdowns. 45. Give him the MVP. He doesn't get MVP. He got robbed. He got absolutely robbed. Receiving 1,400 yards, 15 touchdowns for Addison. Did not expect to see Addison have better numbers than Justin Jefferson. However, was in the slot, so maybe that's something, here with Minnesota. Osborne goes over 1,000. Hawkinson 7 and 10. So that's a good year combined there for the tight end. Number one thing I'm going to say right now is be consistent. I'm not saying we need to do this every year. I'm not saying Josh Dobbs needs 45 touchdowns every year. I'm not saying we need 3,000-yard receivers. However, don't have this fall off the cliff. And I'm not saying don't fall off the cliff next, like year 4, year 5, right? If I got 3,000-yard receivers and Josh Dobbs is getting 40 touchdowns and 4,700 yards, I shouldn't be seeing him have a year where he gets 3,400 yards and 29 touchdowns. That has been far too common in Madden 24 playbooks. Regardless, it just feels like you have down years for no reason. And if we're doing something that was super realistic where there's injuries on and Justin Jefferson was out and Addison was out, stuff like that would make sense. But with putting our best foot forward every single week, this should be, maybe this is the ceiling. Maybe we never eclipse this, but we should never be multiple tiers below this at any point. And I only plan on getting an OC that's going to make Josh Dobbs even better going forward. Ivan Pace on the team with 127 tackles, 3 TFLs, 2.5 sacks. Jordan Hicks over 100 tackles with 4 interceptions. Love seeing that. No real sack. Now, that's very disappointing from Daniil Hunter we just paid, if I'm going to be honest with you. Very disappointing. So, might want to look at a new defensive scheme. Honestly, I'm probably going to fire the DC. If I'm going to be honest with you, I'm bringing in a new OC, more so to help Josh Dobbs' development. I think we need to... Come on! Give him the MVP! Fucking Rob, man. Do we get Coach of the Year at least? What do you mean? Offensive player goes to Cooper Kupp. Addison at 3. Dobbs at 7. Offensive rookie of the year goes to Jordan Addison, which should be a dev trait. Should be looking at a superstar wide receiver. Ivan Pace wins defensive rookie of the year. That should be a dev trait. Quarterback does go to Josh Dobbs, who's going to get a dev trait anyways off of his stats, but we might have a shot at a rare double roll. I'm not going to anticipate it. I'm not going to get my hopes up, but there's a shot that he will get 1 dev trait for his stats, 1 dev trait for the quarterback of the year award. Addison top 3 for wide receivers. On the defense, we didn't really have anyone have a special season, but what a year for Josh Dobbs. What a season. We got those 200 staff points stashed to go out, and we should be able to max out a new OC to give him some pretty good boosts. But this has been a magical season for our 11-6 Josh Dobbs-led Vikings, and we start off in the wild card round, having to run the gauntlet here in year 1 against the Atlanta Falcons, a team that the Vikings just recently beat. I think their most recent. When did they handle business? 27-21, setting up a divisional matchup against the Saints. And in this matchup, was it Josh Dobbs playing lights out? Nope. Did nothing, honestly. It was the rushing attack of Cam Akers and Alexander Mattison, as well as a nice performance on the defense. Hunter with a sack, Harrison Smith, the 2 OGs on the defense, getting some box score acclaim. And this should also be a winnable matchup. New Orleans is pretty good. Top 10 offense. New Orleans, top 10 offense, almost top 5 defense. What? We surely got Derek Carr there still? All right, we are now in the conference championship. Josh Dobbs, 4 touchdowns and a pick on 360 yards. What the... See, this right there, we literally just saw what I'm the most worried about in the sim. Because, that can represent a full season. The Josh Dobbs that we saw in that victory over Atlanta, where he had 106 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks. You can get that role more often than not, I feel like, in a season. Or you can get what we just saw in the play, where you had, player of the week and met the pace of an MVP candidate. So, a little bit worried about how bipolar this offense can potentially be. But we'll spend these upgrades here and try to put our best foot forward against the 49ers. Continue this Cinderella run. And this is nothing that we haven't seen before. Last year in Madden 23, our most surprising rebuild was, I remember, year 1 of a Vikings rebuild with Kirk Cousins, we won a Super Bowl. This team, with not nearly as good of a quarterback on paper in the sim, has a chance of repeating that in Madden 24. Back-to-back years. What stands in our way is the 49ers. They're good. But I think we have the momentum advantage. Oh, 1 point. Close. 1 score game. Oh, and we didn't have to play the Chiefs. Bengals are probably the second worst team you'd want to see. Damn it. I mean, we did nothing. We scored 15 of our 21 late. And look, it's a little bit, it's, Josh Dobbs didn't ball out like he did the week before. Tough assignment. Niners defense is pretty good. But that is a hell of a run, if I'm going to be honest. Year one, I'll say this. Put a silver lining on it. If we never play like this again, if Josh Dobbs doesn't sniff 40 touchdowns, if we never sniff this deep in the playoffs, because we are committing to Josh Dobbs for the remainder of this rebuild, and it's going to come year 3, 4, and 5, he's probably going to start regressing, even with an OC that's giving him a really nice boost. Hell of a run. Hell of a run. Should be proud of it. As Bengals go on to win the Super Bowl, let's take a look at our roster. Where we're expecting a couple dev traits to be popping up. And on the offense, we only got the one roll on Josh Dobbs. But this is going to be the crazy thing. We're probably going to lose some of that morale, right? But he's at +6 morale. Like, if he could somehow carry that morale into a new OC, I could probably get like +10. Like, is there a cap? I mean, maybe there is, but look, like, he got +5 medium accuracy, that's insane. But yeah, looks like we didn't get rewarded for his stats, because it looks like we only got the dev trait on his quarterback of the year award, which is a little bit of a bummer, because touchdowns and yards, he's right in the mix, top 3. We did get a superstar dev on Jordan Addison for winning offensive rookie of the year, as expected with his outstanding year. TJ Hawkinson made the jump from star up to superstar as well. So everyone that performed on the offense got rewarded as such. On the defensive side, well, the good is we got a lot of dev traits. Cam Bynum from normal to star. Davenport is now a superstar, so we're going to have to pay him for sure. Jordan Hicks and Ivan Pace both get dev traits, but then I comically said, watch Dean Lauer get a dev, and he went ahead and got a dev. We did lose one on Harrison Smith, but that is, kind of expected for a guy that's, 35 years old. Generally speaking, outstanding role year 1 for the Vikings as far as dev traits are concerned. All right, we need to make some moves. Our defense wasn't nearly good enough, so you are gone, and I'm going to hire whatever OC has a good playbook. Offensively, we need to go get a quarterback guru type guy. Let's start with the defense. Atlanta, Tampa Bay, Philly. Philly's defense. I feel like Philly's defense doesn't have I mean, he's actually a head coach. We don't need that. What do we got for DCs? Buffalo. They actually get really good sim numbers. I think that's what we need to go with, because I feel like, we are 3-4, right? Just a weird. Who has a good 3-4 sim defense? Robert Saleh. Why is he a 4-3 defense but an inside 4-3 talent? All right, we're gonna. I want to. New England. Damn it, this is tough because I don't know what the answer is going to be here. I'm gonna. The Jets don't even run a 3-4, do they? I feel like they don't. I feel like they're a 4-3. All right, we'll try Tampa. I feel like I've seen Shaq Barrett have some pretty big numbers, but now we got to find someone with QB Guru that can help Josh Dobbs become the best guy he can be. And this is what I would suggest for anybody that wants to do any type of rebuild. And hopefully we get one. There we go. We got Robert Guzman. And he already has one spent in the quarterback group. But look what we're going to do. We're going to go right here for Josh Dobbs. We're going to bump his short accuracy a whole bunch. We have an insane amount of staff points banked up. But I just want to see what his morale is going to be when we get all these buffs. I don't know if it's going to stack on that +6 that he earned. But if it does, pretty cool. If it doesn't, these are permanent and will never go away. We still have more points to spend. I'll do that accordingly. But where is Josh Dobbs entering this offseason? As we look to spend a bunch of money, try to get this team over the edge, over the hump. Josh Dobbs has +11. I've never seen anything even remotely that high. I've seen 6. I believe 6 is the highest I've ever got. Some of that's going to be lost because that is just gained from him having a ridiculous season. But assuming that he's going to continue to play like this, +11 people? Hot? All right, so into the first free agency winner. We're going to play the 5th year option on Darisaw, but now interesting decision to make here on Davenport. We're going to get like a bargain. I'm going to go very player friendly, and I'm even going to, because, you know, the dev trait is nice. New scheme is nice. And if it puts it all together, and if it being Davenport, I'm sorry I called it an it. If he puts it all together, that is going to be incredibly affordable pass rushing help. Now, we got Jordan Hicks, who also played pretty well. I'll tell you right now, if he takes a 1-year deal, so be it. Nice. Keep him here for the veteran presence. Still have enough money. There's a nice free agent. We'll go and get him. For free agency, I actually see like a unique player for once in L'Jarius Sneed, and it just so happens to be at a big position in need. We need multiple corners. Our defense is not nearly good enough. If we can get L'Jarius Sneed, I did all my scouting, my focus scouting on the corners, which was a strength of the class. It's almost always a strength of the generated draft classes. If we can get Sneed, no! Why? Fuck! We're getting. I'm gonna find. We're gonna get a goddamn 80 X factor in this draft. Fuck you, Sneed, pussy. Okay, so I'm gonna. If Sneed didn't absolutely hose us, I would have just probably. I gotta go see. There's a ridiculous coin. He's going second. I don't know if I can trade up to second. Oh, he looks so good. I would say I'd be a little bit more concerned if he was like a better athlete, but I mean, come on, 4 A's, he's gonna be like an 80 something, which is a little bit of a bummer. So we're gonna be looking at another top 5 talent we found here, Keenan Edison. Welcome to the Vikings. I guess the pressure's gonna be on that our pick is gonna be better than that top pick, that our pick's gonna be better than the L'Jarius Sneed. But yep, I was gonna say maybe there's a chance to thread the needle. Split an atom, if you will, to get that first corner and then come out and get Edison late. But top 5 corner, Keenan Edison doesn't have the 4 A's, but 2 A's, 2 B's, and he didn't even go to the combine. That's very interesting. Elite speed. Let's go. Welcome to Minnesota. Probably our, I don't want to say corner 1. That's disrespectful to Byron Murphy, but long term, probably our corner 1. Second round, I need an interior lineman, someone that could come and challenge Ingram for the guard spot, and Pat Cage, great name. Looks pretty. That's probably going to be our guy. But we also need D lineman. I need to rebuild this 3-4 front. Like I would love to see. This would be like. I mean, there is right there the cheesy, gigantic nose tackle pick. I'd like to see one maybe a little bit later rounds. Would be a great role. Doesn't. I mean, again, you can get a role like that fairly common. I don't think you can get one like that at center. So Pat Cage, who's likely going to slide to guard, welcome to Minnesota. All right, let's take a look here at the end of the draft. Draft board kind of got blown up after the center pick, but I hope our top 2 picks are studs. And Keenan Edison is projected to go second, third round. I don't know how far he would have fell in the second, but if he would have been like a late second, I would have been able to get a 79 hidden dev. I would have been pretty happy. And I want to compare that, obviously, to the guy that we considered. Not really considered, but we saw him window shop that was going second overall. Pat Cage, 72 hidden dev center. Really, really nice. But where does Edison stack for the rest of this draft class? And Connor's not close. Second player. Way better value. Let's take a look at Connor. Hopefully he's kind of like Kenny Hodges in our Cardinals franchise with a crazy rating, but then surprised with a star dev. Okay, guess we got kind of screwed over in the Cardinals franchise a little bit. All right, so rolling into year 2 here with the Vikings. Do need to provide an update as, you know, the plus 11 on Josh Dobbs was just for show because the morality gain last season has worn off, but because of how we handled the offensive coordinator, he still gets a very nice plus 5 boost to add on top of his base 75 overall, which you can make the argument that's only in Madden. If Josh Dobbs had that kind of year in real life, there's no way the next Madden he would only be a 75 star. But those are the constraints that we are operating within. The offense, we're going to have Cage kick over and be a starter at guard. Everyone else is returning, ready to run it back on what was a very prolific offense. Couldn't really finish out the roster the way that I would have dreamed it because we couldn't find a defensive end. But we add Edison, who may very well be the best rookie from the last draft class. And I'm excited to see Ivan Pace, Davenport, just got a dev trait last year, Bynum, who just got a dev trait last year. I want to see if all those guys can take another step here in year 2 and continue to gain dev traits. But I'm going to say right now, bottom goal is playoffs. and I want to see at least a top 5 offense. I don't want to see major regression from Josh Dobbs and company. It took a little bit to get going, but week 6, we defeat the Packers 31-17, and it's not a ridiculous stat line, but Josh Dobbs back into the Offensive Player of the Week conversation. 350 yards, 2 tutties, and a win. In week 8, Josh Dobbs is back 350 yards, 4 tuds in a victory over the Arizona Cardinals. And we are on an absolute tear here. We have a breakout defensive back, and it is Byron Murphy Jr. looking to make the jump up to a superstar dev. Let's see what he can do with a good performance here against a Rams team. That's a winnable matchup right there. 4-4 Rams. Let's see what we can do. And from this, we'll roll this into contract talks. Come on, superstar corner. We barely, okay, that's not good for a shootout. 36-35, able to win. And unfortunately, you know, when you give up that many points, probably that many yards, you're not going to play yourself into a dev trade. But we might as well stay right here and see if we can get a wideout. It's probably going to be Osborne. But would be cool to have a potential X-Factor opportunity for Jordan Addison. And it is KJ Osborne looking to make the jump up to superstar to give us 4 between Hockenson, Addison, Justin Jefferson. If Osborne can get up to superstar, that is 4 superstar or better receivers. And we kick the shit out of the Bears, 42-21. I actually read that for a second. I was like, I'm proud of my performance. Oh, he got it. Unfortunately, did not. We got a player of the week. I'm going to guess it was probably Josh Dobbs again. 42-21. Sometimes it can be a defense, and it's Dobbs for... I'm telling you right now, Viking fans, if you didn't give this a shot, Josh Dobbs is ridiculous in the Viking sim, okay? I feel like almost... Now, I'm a realist to say that probably almost any quarterback would thrive like this. But also, maybe not. Maybe we're doing something special here. That would be pretty cool. So, looking at our contract, $65 million. Now, I don't like the fact that a lot of our top targets have 0 interest. That makes no sense. But we got to start with Justin Jefferson here. We'll give him very player-friendly, $225 million. You can't not have him. Byron Murphy Jr. We'll give him a 4-year player-friendly deal. Locked in. $19 million remaining. Now, Bynum. We don't need to overpay because we do have Lewis Seen behind him on the bench, but he is the better player right now. We'll try. I'll give him another offer. The end of year 2, not as good as year 1, but, you know, not bad as well. Finishing a game beyond the Detroit Lions for first place in the North. We finished with a top 5 offense. The change to the Bucks defense, not exactly what we're looking, but our sacks are almost top 10 in sacks. So, I mean, that was really the big change I wanted to chase, was to get our pass rushers. I'd look at Josh Dobbs, 2nd in passing, sandwiched right between Mahomes and Burrow. It would be cool to get Dobbs at MVP. 2nd in yards, 2nd in tutties. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible how he is playing. His rushing numbers are down. I mean, not so much yardage, but he had 5 touchdowns last year. Didn't get that. Maybe because Madison vultured 12,008 for Cam Akers. We have big time from Justin Jefferson, 107 catches, 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns, 13 and 14 for Jordan Addison, over 1,000 for Osborne, and a respectable season for Hockenson, given everyone else eating, but maybe a chance, risk, whatever you want to say, for him to lose his superstar dev, which would suck. Defensively, Ivan Pace continues to be a tackle machine. We did get some sack production, at least out of one player, with Daniil Hunter getting 19 TFLs, 12 sacks. Very happy with those numbers. Davenport, much like Hockenson, might be at risk of losing their superstar dev. Struggling to get picks in the secondary. Where's Edison? 1st round pick. No interceptions. Only a star dev as well. Knowing the top corner that went at 2, which is a little bit of difference. He was projected to go 2nd, 3rd round. Was an X factor, but still pretty happy with that draft, all things considered. Uli Wars Mahomes wins the MVP. Josh Dobbs at number 4. Looking for outright Vikings. Daniil Hunter wins Defensive Player of the Year. Could potentially boost up his dev trade. Josh Dobbs wins Quarterback of the Year. Fully expecting him to make the jump up to a superstar dev. Jordan Addison, Wide Receiver of the Year, which should honestly give us 2 X-Factor wide receivers going forward in this rebuild. Daniil Hunter, Linebacker of the Year. So the individual success, huge this year for the Vikings. But it starts with a trip on the road in the wildcard round here in the playoffs against the 10-7 Niners, who are always a tough assignment in the NFC side of things. For the playoffs, we handle business. 24-21, setting up a divisional matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 4 offense against the number 3 offense. Wow, Philly is really good, but upsets can happen in the sim. That is the glory and awesomeness of the sim when we are the dogs and we lose by 1. No, another. I mean, last year we lost the playoffs. It was a close loss. This one, the sim, we wouldn't have to play Dallas. Oh my God. See, now we're just playing with fire. Last year, we wouldn't have to play Dallas or Kansas City. This year, wouldn't have had to play Dallas or Kansas City. We are missing our window to go on and win. Dobbs was solid, 300 yards. Jefferson, absolutely 8. Defensively, though, no sacks, no turnovers. Kind of let Jalen Hurts just move the ball at will. Not nearly good enough. We go back to the drawing board here for year 3. Year 2 closes. Hey, shut up, Buffalo. They deserve a nice thing to happen every once in a while. As they defeat the Eagles 34-20. What would be a pretty fun Super Bowl to watch outside of the result for myself personally. Look at our squad. Josh Dobbs up to a superstar. Both Addison and Jefferson are X factors. We did lose a dev trait on Hawkinson from superstar down to star, but a very unfair, after a 1,000-yard season, KJ Osborne loses his dev trait. What? He had 1,000 yards. I guess maybe because he's 20. I don't know. That's interesting. I'm not going to complain because, I mean, we could have just as easily had Josh Dobbs not go up a dev trait, which would have sucked. Cage, our hidden dev lineman, pops as a star. And on the defensive side, how is Davenport an X factor? Jordan Hicks makes sense. Tackle machine, made plays all over the field. Daniil Hunter makes sense. Had a huge year. What did Davenport do to go up dev trait? What did Andrew Booth do to go up dev trait? Where we have those guys, but we lose a dev on Osborne. We do also need to pour 2 out for Viking legends as Harrison Smith retires and also Adam Thielen. So because we had so many dev traits, I did not have to splurge too much in free agency. And I will say, literally as of recording this, there was a new title update that dropped for Madden, which I think, how I interpret it, how they updated franchise mode, they made it so basically your salary cap goes up every year in franchise mode. But the contract salary demands in negotiations did not go up with the salary cap. So they adjusted that to make it more difficult, more expensive to re-sign players. Ergo, there should be more exciting free agents available. I figured that's why maybe L'Jarius Sneed, who I don't think I've ever seen as a free agent, was there year 1. And we're seeing a little bit more of that here this year. I mean, JOK is a familiar face, but usually Mixon's not there. Just a lot of, usually, you know, how many free agent classes with a kicker punter? Like 3 of them were in the top 10. And it's opened up a little bit. It's not the best example because a lot of these guys are veterans, but like Rondale Moore being available is a little surprising. We got some guys that are more in that 26, 27 range that didn't exist previously. However, for free agency, we're just going to try to target Alim McNeil as I try to retool our front 3. And I think with how good we have been getting dev trade increases, Alim McNeil at 25 years old, 78 as a normal, probably 1 year starting for us, could bump up to a star dev. So this year for our scouting, I scouted the defensive tackles because we need to refresh our front. And my focus scouting, we have 3D tackles here. Adrian Macklin, A finesse, A tackle, pretty good combine. I'd feel comfortable with that selection. We have Sean Carter out of West Virginia, 3 Bs and a C, also pretty good combine. I think the best of the bunch is Jaden Wynn out of Oklahoma, 3 Bs and an A in the combine. Lots of goods, lots of greats. Let's try to get all one of the 3. I think I want Win the most. Let's see what it would cost to trade up to 20 with Baltimore to leapfrog the Falcons. Maybe I overpaid a little bit, but honestly, outside of that D tackle, wasn't seeing a whole lot of studs, a lot of steals, so I feel fairly confident to get the guy that I think will be the highest rated D tackle. I packaged our 2nd round pick with our 1st to move up, 7, 8 spots? No pressure at all, just don't be normal dev. Thank you. Should be good. Pretty good athlete. Hey, taking a peek at our draft recap. Jaden Wynn, not bad. Maybe not as high of a rating with those letter grades as expected. And we need to see what happens when we shift him to where he's going to be playing at defensive end in our front 3. But hopefully it's not too serious of a downgrade. Goes from 73 down to a 72. I thought I had a guy that looked like he was a stud. In reality, might just be Toby Gerhart 2.0. Pretty good athlete here in Clyde McLaughlin. And we got a 70 wideout in the 5th round. Who looks pretty decent out of Little School, Idaho State. But, I mean, pretty average draft. All right, midway point of year 3. Let's actually sim this one, because this is a big matchup. 7-2 Packers leading the division, 6-3 Vikings. We are right on their goddamn tail. And I know for a matter of fact that their roster is not as good as ours, but they got the momentum, they got the form right now. Not good enough as we win a very close one, 30-29. Not enough for a tiebreaker to put us first place in the division. That's interesting, but gives us some great momentum down the backstretch of the season. Now with 100, we got, well, I would say 183 million with an 83 million. Might as well have 183. We got to navigate the roster here. Figure out who gets paid, who sticks around. So first up, we got Garrett Bradbury, 2-year deal. Sure. No, wants more money. Okay. Lucine is starting for us this year. I don't think it's fair to say he's the successor for Harrison Smith, but he's kind of the okay, and he doesn't want to stick around. Well, Andrew Booth, man, sticking with Andrew Booth was looking like a little bit of a bust. Got a dev trade here with us, playing decent football. We got him locked in, and let's stop beating around the bush. We got Christian Darrisaw, one of the best left tackles in the league. Doesn't even take a very player-friendly offer. These guys are, for a lack of a better word, they're taking me out to dinner, and they're gonna, I think I have an idea of what their intentions are after dinner with these contract negotiations, if you know what I mean. Because we do have, still decent money available, I'll try to keep all three. In a minute since I've had to threaten using a franchise tag. 3 more failed negotiations in a row with Christian Darrisaw. He's coming back on the tag. All right, so at the end of year 3, I definitely noticed that this is, our offense still graded out pretty well, but it did feel like maybe a little bit of like, we're starting to see the age of Josh Dobbs. That happens to every quarterback in Madden. Eventually, even with your stats, it's just, there's a drop-off point. Maybe that was a little bit this year. He's become second in the division, still had a top 5 offense. Defense, top 5 as well. So I'm glad that the change in scheme is actually, he's not slowing down at all. Josh Dobbs, first in yards, 5th in TUDs, 37 touchdowns, 8 picks on 4,500 yards. Solid season there out of Cam Akers. Justin Jefferson just goes nuclear, 1,500 yards, 7 touchdowns on over 100 catches. 11 and 12 for Addison. Almost 8 and 10 for Osborne, 750 and 8 for Hawkinson. Outstanding numbers. Outstanding numbers for Ivan Pace. 119 tackles, 6 TFLs, 3 picks, 12.5 sacks from Daniil Hunter. Would like to see sacks come from elsewhere, but as long as our top big dog is eaten, I'm not going to complain. Jaden Wynn, our top pick. Hidden dev pops with a star dev. Not bad. I mean, 3-4 defensive end is generally not a flashy position. So, as long as he does the ugly work so Daniil Hunter can eat, we'll be fine. The awards here. Lamar Jackson wins the MVP. Josh Dobbs at 6. Don't know if we're ever going to be able to win one. Like, we're putting up some pretty big seasons with Josh Dobbs, and he is not really sniffing the MVP award. Daniil Hunter wins linebacker of the year. This is a big matchup here. Year 3 playoffs. Not ready to start panicking. And we've had decent success in the playoffs, but this is a big one. First and second place in the NFC North, first round of the wild card round. And I think we're a better roster than Green Bay. Guess not. All right, we're not going to talk about the team that won the Super Bowl here in year 3. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You can probably guess who it was. I'll say it's from the NFC. Doesn't matter. Looking at the offense, Josh Dobbs up to an X factor. He, again, not crazy development. Needs to be said outside of the dev trait. Like, he's gone from, what was he, a 69... 10 overall points in 3 seasons of playing like a top 5 quarterback is not crazy. But luckily, we do have the boost. We do have the OC in place to, really juice his rating as much as we possibly can. But pretty damn cool that he does go up X Factor. Doesn't lose a whole lot, but still those are... lose throw power in particular. That's a tough one because that is a hard ability. But luckily, we do have the +3 additional throw power from our offensive coordinator. And he's playing. It feels like he's being ridiculously S here, but he's still only the 24th ranked quarterback in the league. It's very much the Vikings scheme that we have in place here. Defensively, we got no devs, up or down. It's fine. So pretty big last opportunity here. Jordan Ashton, 5th-year option, Darrisaw. We are going to have to franchise tag, and that's not that bad, 25 mil. That's less than what his contract would have cost if we got that extension in place. So that's what happens when you have a shitty agent. So I need D-line and middle linebacker going into this offseason, but also I want to take this opportunity because there was a patch that I interpreted as a patch to increase the big names hitting free agency. We've already saw L'Jarius Sneed in year 1. Year 2 wasn't the craziest free agency, but we're seeing names that I personally don't like Sam Howell's here. That's not super common. James Cook. I've done enough rebuilds. Listen, I've done enough rebuilds to be like, oh, that guy's usually not here, not available. So I'm seeing some James Cooks very much on that list. Wide receivers, Jameson Williams. He's usually not available. Tyler Smith, that's a big fish that has fallen through the cracks. Not a lot. Not a great year if you do need an offensive lineman. We do not. We're looking for a 3-4 defensive end. Also not ideal. We might need to just look through the draft. But we've already seen just definitely a couple names that aren't usually here, which is pretty good. But there's also, unfortunately, a lot of familiar faces that I see time and time again. Charvarius Ward, Rizal Douglas, Jerron Johnson. See, it's a bummer because I would love to just at some point get one of these players that never is there in free agency, but not really the case. I mean, we could look at someone like Quincy Williams and kick him inside, but he's 30 years old, and we still got 2 years left in the rebuild. Where's he going to be at year 5 is what I'm thinking. I'm going to spend money now. You need to help me year 5 Super Bowl bust because it's kind of shaping itself up that way, and he's probably, I don't know. We need to have a good draft. Let's put it that way. All right, with the first pick at 21, I got to tell you right now, not a great draft class for linebackers or defensive tackles. For our linebackers, basically scout the athletes. I think that's going to be our best shot at a linebacker is Pierre Logan, 3 Bs and a C out of Washington State, just because he is a ridiculous athlete. That's what we're looking for. Should be available. We could overdraft him in the 2nd round. But we need a 3-4 defensive end, and not great. We have Keith Newsom, who looks... good athlete. Looks like we look for the 40-yard dash. I thought Terrell Swain was going to be the best of the bunch. A, power move, B, finesse move, B, tackle. 2nd, 3rd round talent. Which makes me a little annoyed that I see that. However, I think we got to trust the grades on this one. Trust the grades. Hopefully there's a dev, which there is. Grab that linebacker in the 2nd round and then get out of what is honestly just not a good draft roll. And we're going to be able to get our guy here, Pierre Logan, in the 2nd round. With love of you have a dev trait as well. Yes, sir. 90 speed, 90 acceleration. That is a dub for Ivan Pace's new partner in crime in the middle of our defense. So we went to the offseason needing D-tackle and a linebacker. We got ourselves, well, not D-tackle, but like a 3-4 defensive end. We got one. Both hidden devs. Logan and Swain both going to contribute for this roster going to year 4. Get a nice little 4th round value. Can't really stunt too much on these corner picks because they're just very overpowered. Like, if you can't draft a good corner on any given draft, just watch a little bit more of my content. You should be. Anybody. If you're a 70-year-old man playing Madden for the first time, you still should be able to stumble upon a good corner or two every single year. What are you doing? Find them. They're there. Every year. Every year. All right, so going into year 4 is a very quick snapshot of where our roster is offensively, ready to rock and roll. This team is good. I will say we're starting to see probably a little bit of regression. Josh Dobbs probably at his ceiling. Bradbury, Risner at their ceiling. O'Neal probably at his ceiling. I don't think you're going to see T.J. Hawkinson get any better. So really, we're going to be putting our best foot forward for the next 2 seasons. I'm not expecting anyone to take massive leaps and bounds in terms of the development. Defense, different story though. Swain on the D-line, the rookie. We got Wynn, 2nd-year player. Logan, the rookie. Ivan Pace still developing. The whole secondary is growing. I think Bynum's probably the oldest. What is he, 28? So, I mean, for the most part, we're not at our ceiling yet as a squad. We're obviously, if you consider our ceiling as far as Josh Dobbs can take us, he's probably not going to get a lot better than where he is right now. So, that's just a long way of saying, would be nice to win one now because Josh Dobbs probably is going to face a regression that even I can't figure out to solve this upcoming offseason. Could be a -2, could be a -3 to his overall just because of straight age, which will make it just that much more difficult to win year 5. So it would make it that much better to win now in year 4. We got the squad, though. This is definitely a Super Bowl contender. And the bye week here in year 4, not bad. Sitting atop the division, but competitive for sure. Chicago, they're 5-2. Green Bay only a game back. But it is time for maybe at this point, the biggest contract extension of the rebuild, which is Darisaw, who still doesn't want to be here. Now he does. He knows that we won't hesitate one damn bit to throw his ass on the franchise tag back-to-back years. Holy shit. Okay, and with that, fucking no money. That's a problem. That is definitely a problem. We could You can survive without a running back. Brian O'Neill, however, an 89 right tackle. Maybe we'll have to be a little bit cheesy and maybe say the last negotiating window, like right before free agency starts, I restructure a bunch of deals just so we can pay Brian O'Neill. I think that's what we're going to have to do. I feel dirty about doing that. Don't like doing it. I'm not proud to say I got to do that, but I got to win a Super Bowl. I got to figure out a way to win a Super Bowl. Unless we can win one this year, and if we do, maybe we won't cheese it. But if we don't, I'm going to cheese like it's a poutine with Chester Cheeto and mac and cheese, Kraft dinner, everything all put into one. I'm going to do that this offseason if I got to. Year 4, I love it. I mean, I would love it more if we were getting that first round bye, but I just love it when I can kick my feet up, just sim the season and not be worried. Sometimes, some rebuilds, we've seen it countless times. We are on a little bit of a rebuild losing streak. I think I'm 2 rebuilds in a row. We haven't won a Super Bowl, which means we have had damn near super teams not perform well. But it does feel like this Vikings team this year, and if we don't win this year, next year, like they're going to reliably get us in the playoffs. There's not ever going to be a situation where we are simming past week 18 and we're not going to at least have an opportunity to go on and win a Super Bowl. I love that that's where this team is at. However, Josh Dobbs, I mean, by his standards, slipping a little bit. 3rd in yards, 12th in touchdowns. Okay. Run game was good. Addison, holy shit. Did not think in this rebuild Jordan Addison would have the best single season between him and Justin Jefferson, but that is the case. Both had ridiculous years, but 19 touchdowns, and that's probably Offensive Player of the Year award right there for Addison. The rookie Pierre Logan led the team with 115 tackles, 6 TFLs, 3 sacks, and a pick. And he was a straight-up X Factor. The 2nd round. He was projected to go 2nd, 3rd round. Fell to our lap in the 2nd round. That is an absolute hit for us. On the defensive side, so here again, he'll be the one negative. What happened with Danielle Hunter? Is he hitting that age where he's, that's a little early? I'd say if he's like 33, 34 and kind of fell off a cliff, I'd be a little bit more understanding. But back-to-back years of double-digit sacks, and now he just gets half the amount that he was previously getting. Terrell Swain was our other hidden dev rookie. He popped just with the star dev, which, I mean, I'm not going to critique that too much because we got a freaking X-Factor linebacker, which is badass, our true successor to Eric Kendricks back in the day. No MVP shortlist for Mr. Dobbs. For individual awards, Pierre Logan wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. Probably would have preferred that to go to Swain because obviously Logan has nowhere to go in terms of dev trait. I think we have Jordan Addison, got to be wide receiver of the year, which he is. Wait a minute, though. Where was he for Offensive Player of the Year? Runner-up, huh? Okay. Weird. Well, maybe it just gives a little bit more motivation for Jordan Addison to go off here on this playoff run. So the first round of the playoffs, we do want to run the gauntlet. Would be nice. That's one of the last remaining things on our checklist is to get a first round bye, just to limit the amount of times we can get fucked over by the sim. We got the Niners, who I feel like we've met a couple times in the playoffs. It feels like every time we've gone to the playoffs, we have met the Niners in one way, shape, or form. And we handle business here, 37-30 in a shootout. Tough to score 37 points on a Niners defense in which we don't even get anything offensively. It goes to Ivan Pace Jr., the UDFA turned into star linebacker, 11 tackles and a sack in the win. And that means we are on to the next matchup here, which was the Giants, I think. Yes, okay. What are they looking at? They got the 11th offense, number 1 defense in the NFL. And the number 1 rushing, I mean, Saquon's just an absolute god. Is he the best sim running back in the game? It's like Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry. He couldn't do much there. 34-10. Do we get it over with? Do we just rip the Band-Aid off? Do we just rip the Band-Aid off? You saw who we're playing next, right? You saw it? Wasn't just me. Before that, we can admire what Josh Dobbs did. Big-time performance here. 337 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground. But he is taking on the man right below him, Micah Parsons, who is the only, you could probably say CeeDee Lamb as well. There's only two Cowboys that should be comically good in the sim like they are. Let's give our team the best shot they possibly can by spending some points. Get a nice 1-point upgrade there for Josh Dobbs. Is that going to be enough? Probably not. We just won 34-10. I'm sure we're going to lose 34-10 to Dallas. But an opportunity to make the Super Bowl And it goes back to the fact the last 2 years we've made the playoffs. Holy shit, we beat them! Yes! And there's no Chiefs. Okay. Because I was literally just saying the last couple years we've made the playoffs, we had the perfect role where we had like just a route, an avenue that we didn't have to play the Chiefs or the Cowboys. And when push came to shove, I mean, Josh Dobbs didn't play crazy. 1 touchdown, 1 pick, almost 300 yards through the air. Did have a rushing touchdown, so he broke even on tutties. KJ Osborne was our leading receiver, which is weird. So Dallas did a good job taking away our top 2 receivers. Terrell Swain, the rookie, got a sack. And it's just one of those things, man. Look at that. I mean, garbage time for Dallas. We were consistent. Dallas got all their points real late. And it sets up a matchup here against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Stand between that and Josh Dobbs completing the story. And going from, I don't even know what he was, 4th or 5th round pick. Bounced around a bunch of different teams. Got traded at the trade deadline after starting a couple games for the injured Kyler Murray on the Arizona Cardinals. Goes to Minnesota to step in for Kirk Cousins, who went down with a season-ending injury, with Kirk Cousins being the last year of his contract, the quarterback spot, with a lot of uncertainty for the Minnesota Vikings. And you get Josh Dobbs, a goddamn astronaut, who somehow has me blocked on Twitter for some reason. He has a chance to bring the first Super Bowl ever to the Minnesota Vikings. And we're going to spend the points here just on our freak of nature middle linebacker, Pierre Logan, who got Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's now playing with all of his boosts, like an 85 overall. One of the best young linebackers in football. Bold prediction, he gets an interception this game, and the Vikings win the freaking Super Bowl. Let's hop in, front row seats. You know the rules. We get 3 opportunities to hop in if we need to. What better time? Battle of purple teams. We have the better team. We are the purple people eaters, which eat purple people. Therefore, we eat the purple Baltimore Ravens. It makes sense. Let's go. Opening drive, Baltimore. Goes down the field, gets a couple 3rd down conversions. And we're going to be in ourselves in a 14-0 hole. There you go. Josh Dobbs, the offense, orchestrates 7. We get 14-14, trading paint with them. And we're going to come in with one of our 3 times right before halftime to, at worst, put this team in a position to kick a field goal. I mean, we are fringe field goal range. Might want to get a little bit closer. We got Justin Jefferson running a fancy-ass route here. We're going to step to the outside. We're going to wait. We're going to take off. No one follows or respect. I mean, he's an old man at this point. Slide. But no one respects Josh Dobbs' scrambling ability there. I mean, we've seen that literally the last Minnesota Vikings game. Josh Dobbs had like 2 or 3 scrambles that were just, you can't really let those plays go up. And we get the touchdown on their own, so we still have 2 more times we can cash in. And it's going to be very tight here in the 4th. 3rd down, make a stop. I wonder if we can. I'm gonna be bold here and say we can play some defense. Usually we don't play defense. Usually that'll be something where I kind of let them do their own thing. But we are going to end Lamar Jackson. It is Aleem McNeil, the free agency signing, the nose tackle from the Detroit Lions. We get the stop. They go for it on 4th down. All or nothing. Oh, this final drive, put it away, man. Put it away. 28. We get them the garbage time score. Didn't even have to use all 3. The Journey. That's good. I don't know if they're gonna make a movie, but I think literally if he goes to space somehow, like once he retires, they're gonna be like the astronaut that won a freaking Super Bowl. They'd probably make a Disney movie about what Josh Dobbs just accomplished here today. And the Minnesota Vikings are one time, finally, the confetti is purple, white. I don't know if that's a yellow or a gold, whatever you want to call it, but they are Super Bowl champions, and we still got 1 more year of this rebuild. I knew this was gonna be. I don't want to say I knew I was going to win a Super Bowl. I knew this was going to be an interesting video because it is like the perfect scenario where you have an offense that probably any quarterback in a sim setting is going to play well. And then you take a quarterback like Josh Dobbs, who has very limited ceiling. If you're looking at it from the grand scheme of things, a 5-year scope, which is what we do here in the rebuilds. You know, if I did this any other scenario, if Josh Dobbs was having this success with the Jets, let's just say he was the guy that went to the Jets when Aaron Rodgers went down. Like, it wouldn't work in Madden because the Jets don't have that good of an offense. They don't have that good of a playbook. But Minnesota is the perfect spot for something like this to come to fruition. And look at that. Josh Dobbs give him, well, Jordan Addison had 10 catches, 130 yards. But you're giving this MVP to Josh Dobbs. 300 yards, 82% completion percentage. I completed one scramble with him this whole game. That is all Josh Dobbs. And that is awesome. We got one more year. Let's get another Super Bowl. So we did get also a nice little boost here in terms of salary cap. 31 mil, which I think should be enough to get Brian O'Neill back on the team. Should be enough to keep Cam Akers here on the team. Oh, fuck you, buddy. All right, we're going looking for a running back. Give me a rental for 1 year on the open market, or that'll be where we go in the first round of the draft. I still think we could grab a running back here and then also get one in free agency. And because Cam Akers told us to F off, we're going to look at Zach Charbonnet, former, I don't know if he was a second-round pick, third-round pick of the Seattle Seahawks. But we're bringing him in. And if there's a really good running back there in the first round, we're going to go with a tandem effort. And we're going to be way better than wherever the hell. And with the 32nd pick, which we got awarded because we are your defending Super Bowl champions. Wow. There was 3 running backs that look legit. All 3 are gone. And 2 of them were projected second, like this one, first, second round. Might need a pivot here, honestly. Do we have, I mean, we have no other real needs. Could go D lineman. Could just keep throwing assets at the defensive line and just having depth there, I suppose. Nah, fuck it. I said running back. We'll grab a running back here. We're going to go Terrell Ford just because he's a decent athlete. Out of Oklahoma State. Probably normal dev. God damn it. And look at how to recap. We get mulligan draft. This draft never happened. We're Super Bowl champions, and we just go right to the next season. So here's it. Final work. Year 5 for the squad. Actually, we were down a guard. I probably could have just drafted a guard. Where did our left guard go? Dalton Risner. Okay. Doesn't matter. We're fine. This is it. I feel pretty good about this squad. Addison, Jefferson, Josh Dobbs have been elite. TJ Hawkinson for the 3rd receiver has been pretty damn good as well. Zach Charbonnet, massive shoes to fill in regards to the fact that, hey, you know, Cam Akers has been a solid 1,000 yards for us every single year. I have no doubts that Charbonnet can be that guy. Defensively has been a surprise. It's been a grind. We've had multiple drafts, but we're feeling pretty good. We have the homegrown, per se. Obviously, Davenport came on like a 1-year rental from the Saints. But Davenport, Bynum, Daniil Hunter, Louis Cine, Byron Murphy, Andrew Booth. Those are all guys. Ivan Pace, who's up to a 91 with the boost. Homegrown talent that we've stuck with. We've sprinkled in a couple guys we've drafted. X-Factor linebacker, Swain and Wynn. Edison, who's up to a 94 at corner. This is a homegrown, home-built defense. I mean, for the most part, this has all been not a lot of mercenaries that we've gone out and got. Really, you could almost make the argument that Charbonnet has really been the only guy. So with that being said, as defending Super Bowl champions, let's get Josh Dobbs a second one so he can go down and, you know, one of the best rebuilds we've done all year. I have so much confidence in the team. I'm advancing right to the playoffs. We are going to be division winners. I'm going to say we're going to go 13-4. And my confidence in my team, at least good enough to seal a deal for a ticket at the show. As, look, I didn't even spend my points all year. That is how much of a front runner I think we were this year. 11-6. We finish. The offense is slipping. Defense still playing at an elite level. Top 3 defense. Offense, I mean, Josh Dobbs is... Oh, no. Oh, no. I mean, still good numbers. If at any point, if in year 1 that we took over Josh Dobbs, we didn't know what his ceiling was going to be. If you told me Josh Dobbs got 4,030 and 11, that's still really good, I think, for Josh Dobbs. Charbonnet, a little bit less than what we're getting out of Cam Akers. Jefferson and Addison had great seasons. Pace and Logan, tackle machines. Sacks have been inconsistent. Those aren't brutal numbers for our top 2 guys. 8.5 for Daniil Hunter. 4 picks for Edison, who's been our best corner this whole rebuild. Yearly awards, Joe Burrow wins the MVP. Individual awards, yeah, who cares? Who cares? We're defending Super Bowl champions. We're feeling pretty good. Let's do this now. Career stats, Josh Dobbs. Some of this is not with Minnesota. 98% of it is with the Vikings. Through 5 seasons, we are at 20, we'll round that up generously, 23,000 yards passing. 180 touchdowns to 50 picks for X Factor in Josh Dobbs. Also, 1,500 yards and 11 touchdowns. Everything we could have asked for in this, it worked out. Usually when I have a good idea, something that like, you know, usually Madden, it takes two to tango, right? You come up with a great idea, great scenario for a Madden franchise, but you also need Madden to cooperate a little bit. Sometimes that's not the case. Luckily, it worked out well here for the Vikings. Justin Jefferson at almost 12,000 receiving yards, 66 touchdowns. Did not see Jordan Addison finishing with more receiving touchdowns than Justin Jefferson, but an elite duo nonetheless, as Jordan Addison in 3 less seasons has more touchdowns than the best wide receiver in the NFL, Justin Jefferson, which is absolutely insane. Osborne, respectable numbers. Hawkinson with respectable numbers. Defensively, Daniil Hunter finishes with 150 TFLs, 113 sacks. We got over 600 tackles for Ivan Pace. What a success story for the UDFA. Not really crazy interception numbers outside of that. Bynum with 10 picks, 8 for Edison, 6 for Pace. Pretty good numbers across the board, but we are looking to defend our Super Bowl trophy, and it starts with the Atlanta Falcons, who are pretty good. Number 6 offense. Defense sucks ass, so I am fully expecting at least 35 points from Josh Dobbs and the Minnesota. We got 21, and we got a player of the week, and it is Mr. Davenport, who I remember way back when I was like previewing the roster. I was like, he's a band-aid, he's a stopgap, one-year guy. Then somehow he got a superstar dev. Rest is history. He's been right there along for the whole ride. On the other side of Daniil Hunter, has done a serviceable job. Love seeing him get a player of the week. We'll upgrade our players because we got to have a juggernaut, a team, which I'm not making this video as an Eagle fan. I don't want to insult or enrage or bait any Vikings, but it needs to be said. Minnesota's has some pretty good teams. We'll say the last 5 years, 6 years, especially 6 years. They've had some pretty good teams. They've been one of the better teams overall, historically, the last 6 years. However, Philly has always kicked the shit out of them. Maybe there's like one loss in there, but for the most part, like Philly has been one of those teams that Minnesota never wants to see. And obviously, it goes back to 2017. That championship game was brutal. I think if you're a Viking fan, absolutely brutal. But we have time to exercise all of these demons. Knock out the Philadelphia Eagles and make it to a second straight NFC championship game. Jalen Hurts didn't put up ridiculous numbers. Doesn't turn the ball over. Philly has the number 9 offense, so we're pretty similar offensively. Defensively, we have the edge. It's a close matchup. Don't lose. And if we are going to lose, I'm going to be disappointed. At least it's against Philadelphia, but I'd love to see. And look at that. Very close matchup. 15-14. Josh Dobbs is the magic sauce. And look at this. We got another role where you don't have to play the Cowboys or the Chiefs to win another. So that is awesome. 15-14. Very ugly game. Josh Dobbs protected the football. Jalen Hurts had a pretty strong matchup. Josh Dobbs had a rushing touchdown. Justin Jefferson went over 100 defensively. Got a sack of Lynn McNeil. No turnover. Just an ugly game where we endured. We hung with Jalen Hurts and company, and we are back in the NFC Championship. This time it is against the New York Giants, who have a terrible offense, pretty good defense, but like this got to be a win. This is going to be. I already feel this is going to be a loss. But overall, there's no way we should be losing this matchup. Their offense sucks. Their defense isn't as good as ours. And that felt like a loss on paper. Felt like that was always going to be one where they would just give it to him. Josh, we had both player of the weeks. Like, what the fuck did they do to win that matchup? Huh? 20-17? I hope they lose. They got 13 in the fourth. We fell apart a little bit in the fourth. They have Deshaun Watson, of course. Fucking pervert at quarterback. Saquon's always going to get his. You can't let Isaiah Hodgins go for 104 and not get Justin Jefferson involved. Addison had a great job, great game. Defensively, they have a good defense. They got 2 sacks. We got 0. 0 sacks, 0 turnovers, huh? Well, this would be a lot more frustrating if we didn't just have a Super Bowl winning season, but you're not going to be able to win them all. So we'll spend these X points here and just see where our squad is at overall as we admire what we were able to accomplish here today. We took Josh Dobbs on the team that I knew was pretty cheesy in the sim, and there was still a chance that it wasn't going to mesh. There was still a chance that even in a perfect scenario, Josh Dobbs was going to suck, just wasn't going to be the guy, and he absolutely became the guy. Definitely need to give big shout-outs to the offensive line. probably the, two of the best tackles this whole rebuild. Shout out Hawkinson. Shout out Jordan Addison. Shout out Justin Jefferson. Because, obviously, I feel like even with the scheme, if we don't have Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, probably not putting up those big numbers for Josh Dobbs. But when all is said and done, we took one of the best stories in the NFL this year. We brought Minnesota their first ever Super Bowl. And we're going to take that as an absolute... I mean, look at that. We finished Josh Dobbs only roughly like 10 overall points gained in this rebuild. It wasn't like he became some 97 MVP winner every year. But that's also not taking away the fact that, 40-11, 39-8, 37-8, 32-9, 30-11 with some pretty decent, 5 rushing touchdowns, 2, 3. Josh Dobbs was awesome. This was awesome. This worked out well. Maybe he sees this, unblocks me from Twitter, because I definitely, that's the one thing. I almost need to look through my tweet history. I think I did it before and I couldn't find anything, but it was almost 100% something happened between Tennessee and Florida and I said something. But I apologize for those previous transgressions. And I hope we can be cool again, Josh Dobbs, because you were fucking awesome in today's video, and I very much appreciate it. So that'll do it for me today, guys. As always, let me know in the comment section below what rebuild you want to see next. I did drop a video a couple days ago that my draft classes are live. At least version 1 of my draft classes are live, 2025. I'm talking with Bengal. He had to redo his 2024 because there was some bug or something like that. So that is on its way, which means sooner than later, realistic rebuilds are going to be happening, which is going to reopen up all 32 teams for more rebuilds. So just let me know what team you want to see next for a rebuild for the time being, and I will do the most requested in the comments. If it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoyed. Until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out, love ya, have a good one.